So I have Makenzie. Makenzie, say your last name.
Latvaavho.
Latvaavho. It's a fun last name to say, and I never get it right, but it's still fun to say. Makenzie has been training with me in the KVS Pitching Mentorship Program for the last 6 months. And we have been through some things together, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. And so much so that if this girl faced this much adversity in the last 6 months to prepare her for what's to come, she's pretty much going to be unstoppable. I do have Makenzie on the call, as well as her mother, as well as her father. And they are both going to be answering questions, as well as Makenzie is going to be talking about the biggest breakthrough she had, maybe what was the hardest part in the program, and then how she was able to push through the toughest moments. So we're going to start with you, Makenzie. Go ahead and give me a little intro on yourself, your age, when you graduate, all the jazz.
Well, my name is Makenzie Latvaavho. I'm a 2020, well, I graduate in 2027. So I'm a junior at Xavier College Prep. And yeah, I play softball.
Yeah. How long have you been pitching?
4 years?
Yeah.
4? Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. And what made you come into the program? Like, why Kally V Softball?
Because I wanted more like one-on-one. Like I was getting one-on-one training, but I wanted like the like connection rather than, like just being like another student. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard that like you were like really good and
Okay.
you were like very like connected to your students and like that's like what I wanted. So
That
yeah.
means a lot to me. Did you experience that with me?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Good.
like remember like my name, so
Oh no. Tell me it wasn't that bad without telling me it was that bad. Oh my
no,
goodness.
it wasn't that bad. I was just joking.
No, you're good. But let's get to the grit of it. Like, what was your problem? Like, you wanted to feel connected, but what was your problem coming into the program? Like, what did you want to solve?
Well, at the beginning of the program, I was having like issues with like my mechanics, but I didn't know how to like fix it because like I was getting the drills, but like it wasn't like connecting in my brain because sometimes like it just like doesn't connect. And when you don't have somebody like constantly like reminding you of the things, then it's hard to like know how to fix it.
Hmm.
And like I was just like frustrated because I wanted to gain speed and to get better spin, but I wasn't getting that because my mechanics were all whack. And I didn't know how to gain speed and I didn't know why I wasn't gaining speed because I like physically couldn't.
Yeah, and it's a disconnect. Like when you're putting all the effort into it and you're still not able to do it, and then you work with somebody who's like, "Whoa, you're sending energy into like the wrong places," right? So do you feel like in the program you at least learned how to correct your mechanics that way you can adjust during the game?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's good. And you did. You hit some PRs throughout the last 6 months.
64.
Yeah. So where were you at when you started with me?
I was
59.
like in games, I was hitting 59.
Yep. And I think if my memory serves me correct, your
But I
dad
was
had
hitting
mentioned,
60s.
yeah,
Yeah.
you were like every now and then you would peak to 60, peak to 60, but the consistency was 59.
Mm-hmm.
So you were definitely able to gain the speed. That was a big goal coming into the program. And I think for me, the biggest thing I needed you to understand was it's going to take time. Like you're not going to get to 64 2 weeks into the program. Like we've kind of got to break things down in order to rebuild them back up. And not a lot of athletes can do that. It says a lot about your personality, not just as an athlete, but as a person. You you kind of just like bared down and you just believed in it. And now look at you.
Yeah.
So that's huge. What would you say was your biggest breakthrough?
Like a good breakthrough?
Yeah.
Oh, when I started being able like a mental breakthrough or like a physical.
If you want to talk mental and then talk physical and then talk emotional, be my guest because it's all one big giant band. It all works together. So,
Trying to think of what I should start with. Um, I can start with. I'll start with my physical.
okay.
I think. Oh, um, I think. Um, I think my biggest breakthrough was when I started like my line started cleaning up like a lot, and then everything started kind of like snap, like better spin, better snap. Like when, because before like I was still opening up, but then it all just kind of clicked. It that part clicked, and then I started being able to get my tighter spin. I thought that was a
Good.
breakthrough, and like feeling like the certain points too in my
Yeah.
releases.
Yeah. You like just working bullpens with you. Like, I loved watching you. It reminded me a lot of myself as a pitcher. I would know by the time the ball came out of my hand to tell my catcher to get down because it was going nowhere but in the dirt, or hey, get up. It's a little bit higher than it was supposed to be. And that's always fun to watch my pitchers figure that stuff out because it's accountability without boundaries. You know what I mean? Like you and your catcher will be so connected in those moments, you know?
Yeah.
So what else did you have like mentally or emotionally?
I mean, mentally, like, I guess kind of at like the end of the season, I mean, like, obviously, I mean, it's still a work in progress,
As
but
it should be.
yeah, but like, kind of only like caring about my opinion on myself, I guess, and like going in with just like not like caring about um, like, meeting expectations of other people but myself.
Yeah, and that's a tough place to be in because you don't want people to lie to you. You want people to be honest. But at the same time, like you also don't want to be in a position where you feel like you're cutting yourself off from other people's advice or positive intention. It's a tough place to be in. Like I feel like honestly, this couldn't have happened for you at a better time. Like if you had a magic, like a crystal ball, and you could see the adversity you were going to face, could you imagine facing all of that physically, mentally, and emotionally without this type of mentorship?
No, it was
Like
hard.
yeah, it's crazy. I feel like you faced a lot. You have a lot of self stuff you've been working through, self-belief. How do you feel like emotionally you're starting to really see it, like what everybody else sees in you, what you're capable of doing?
Like how I'm starting to see it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I mean, it's still like kind of foggy for me, but um, I guess when I was like, I don't know how to explain this. Um, I don't know when I just started like looking back on my successes, I guess, is when it started
Yeah.
clicking a little bit more, but
Yeah,
still
like
in progress.
well, just when you messaged me at PGF and you were like, "Hey, I hit a new PR. It was game changer. Like you can't mess that up. Like college coaches are looking at that." And you shared that with me. And prior to that, I told you, I was like, you have to let me know when you're having the good moments.
Mhm.
Like, let me celebrate this with you. And when you did that, I was like, she's starting to do it versus why should I celebrate that when I did X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? Sometimes we get focused on the negative stuff more than we do the positive stuff. And in order to reach the big win, we have to learn how to celebrate the little win. Even if there's a lot of little micro losers, like moments around us, we can't let that hang, like pull us down. And as your coach who gets to work with you in this environment, it's been pretty cool to watch you, because I watched you in high school season. You started to pull yourself away from everybody. And then I remember the couple of sessions we had, you were like, I care, but I don't care anymore. Like, I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. And I knew right there, like, the wheels are turning. But it's just another habit, like a bad mechanic. It's just another emotional mechanic that we'll make in order to protect ourselves. And it's just a reflection of maybe what you went through in the past. And now you're starting to see, like, I'm not there anymore. I'm not playing on that team anymore. I'm on a team that loves me. They want me to be on the mound. Like, I have a coach in travel ball that, like, tells me how it is in such a constructive and almost like motherly way. I feel like she's very honest with you, just like she would be her own kids. And I think that's really what you needed, is you needed that honesty. Right? So
Yeah.
my question to you is, if you had to tell a friend or tell someone about me, Coach Kally V, and the pitching mentorship program, what would you say?
I say, like,
It's a loaded question.
I say, I don't know, you're kind of like a second mother almost.
That's a compliment. Thank you.
And then I'd probably say that the program doesn't just like focus on like the physical side, like also preparing you for the mental challenges that I'll have to face. Like she helps prepare me for both, and in like a good way. And like she's very like supportive, and like the program like helps create like a structural supportive base, I guess.
I love it. I mean, you could have just stopped at, like, you're like a second mom.
Well,
At least she said
Especially with
second,
your
mom.
I know. Especially with mama sitting right next to you. I'm like honored. Like, that means a lot to me, because, it's funny. I was talking to somebody last week about coming into the program, and it was a beginner pitcher. They ended up going with the beginner course that I have. And he was like, how do you handle, staying on top of all your athletes? And I go, well, I can only have so many. And the reason why I'm not like a lot of my friends who are instructors in the remote world, they have like 100, clients a month. The reason why I'm not like that is because I really value the intimacy and the relationship that I not only have with my athletes, but with their families. Like, I become a part of the support system. Like, your mom, we've had heart to hearts. Your dad, we've had to talk about some tough things, and, like, it's okay, right? And again, I'm honored that you say I'm like a second mom, and just the fact that you guys all have allowed me to come in and be a part of Team Makenzie. So that means a lot to me. So I really appreciate you sharing a little bit of your journey with me, and whoever's going to watch this, Makenzie. I think the sky's the limit. I think the PGF, this whole summer for you, I think there's so much clarity in it, and it's starting to, like, how would I say, shed. You're starting to see it. You're like, in this moment, if I would have done this, it could have went this way. But if I didn't do it that way, I wouldn't have known that I could get better in this aspect.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you being vulnerable and leading with that, because you and I both know what it's like to have those teammates that feel like they do no wrong, and they don't have problems, and they don't need to get better. And at the end of the day, the mentality and the emotion part of the physical aspect of this game, that steers the ship. So thank you for sharing that. So now I'm going to shift the ship to the parental units, and I'm going to start with mom.
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Leanne, Mackenzie's mom. And we've been, gosh, on this journey for a while. I mean, this kid's been playing softball since she was 5. And, you know, lots of other sports in between, but softball just kind of became her passion. And I played a little softball as a young child,
Girl, you
but
did
not
play
to this
softball.
extent. But what I'm trying to say is I've always had a love of softball. I love sports and the fact that my kid's in it, and I want to be at every single game and at everything and always be involved. And it's been great to watch her go through this journey. Obviously lots of ups and downs. And I think, like you said, this summer, there were ups, there were downs, but I think you have to go through that in order to figure out what your real potential is. And I feel like, honestly, like she's on the cusp of greatness. I just feel like there's just a few, you know, obviously there's always things you have to work on, but I just see so much potential and so much greatness there. And I love the fact that you work on both the physical and the mental aspect of being in a sport at this level, because for teenagers, it's hard. There's so much that they're having to deal with, whether it's their sport, their school, their friends. I mean, there's a lot. And I think it's even harder now than when we were kids. So the fact that you can get that kind of all in a one-stop shop is pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah. So
That's good. I'm happy to be in that position. One of the things I always like to speak with my parents about, especially the younger ones who think, you know, their kid's 10 and they should be playing as well as Makenzie, as old as she is. And I'm like, whoa, hold the phone, is the ability to be able to go through adversity with your kiddo while they're still underneath your roof. Instead of quickly moving them from team to team because you don't like something.
Sorry.
It's okay. You're allowing your kiddo to experience, I guess, what we've created now is positive adversity, you know, like there's positive, constructive criticism, you know, and then there's negative, constructive criticism. Like coaches have blurred the line so much nowadays. But the fact that you guys have allowed yourself to just sit shotgun throughout your kid's vehicle of adversity. And I know it's tough. Like I've talked to both you and Chris about your own experiences. Like Chris played D1 as a tennis player. So there's that elite level there. And things have changed tremendously since, you know, both Chris and I played college sports. Like it's nuts. So for you guys to see that, especially you as mom, to see that support system and understand that it's all going to complete itself, that means a lot to me. You know, because not everybody can come into this program and buy in to the process. Because as you guys have gathered, I'm not like, we're going to push for speed and you're going to be there in 3 weeks. Like, that's just not how I roll. It's not how I roll. Because what I'm a firm believer in, if it happens too fast, whatever success you're seeking, it's going to fall apart 10 times faster. And I want her to build the success to where she gets to the collegiate level. And if Makenzie wants to go play pro, now she has that capability because those doors are opening for her and other athletes the same age as her. So pretty much the sky's the limit for her.
Yeah. If you never have to go through adversity, you don't know how to deal with it when it does hit you. So it's hard to watch your kid go through it. It's hard to see her not pitching well one day on the mound, but then turn around and come back the next day and hit your PR. I mean, those are the moments that as a parent, it's like, yes, this is why we're doing this. This is it, because someone else may have just said, you know, forget it. I'm not gonna, you know, even try the next day, but to come back and be completely focused and know your worth and know that you can do it and then do it. It's amazing. So
That's
yeah.
a pretty cool thing to be able to witness for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys were able to experience that, you know. My next question to you is, what would you say, like if somebody was like, and maybe it's already happened, who's Makenzie's pitching coach, what would you say about what it's been like for her working in the program, for me as her pitching coach? Like, how would you tell them? Because a lot of the kickback I get is like, oh my gosh, you're so expensive. But now you guys going through the program for 6 months, you guys get it.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
like, well, this is why. So what would you say to that?
I mean, I guess what I would say is, are you looking, like you said, are you looking for someone that's going to get them somewhere really fast, but not help them achieve the mental capacity to maintain that? Because if that's what they're looking for, great, but their kid's going to hit a point possibly where there's going to be a breakdown and they're not going to know how to deal with it, where sometimes slow and steady gets the win. You know, working on both, because I think we forget about the mental part of the game a lot. And I see this posted all over social media. How do I get my kids' mental game on? How do I get them out of their head? How do I do all these things? And you know, we're just the parents and we want to love them and support them, but we don't know how to get in their head with the softball aspect of it or the sport aspect of it, where someone who is maybe been through it or more trained to be able to help do that is worthwhile to me than having my kid go through tons and tons of frustration and never get anywhere. Whereas with you, I do see how it has helped, and I see the process and how she has gone from point A to point B and is a stronger, better athlete, having
I
gone
think
through
she's
it.
definitely more self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
way more self-aware than she was when she started. And I like that.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's
Hopefully
kind of
that
the
makes sense.
do what?
I said, hopefully that made sense. Sometimes
It
what you're
totally does.
thinking and
Like
trying to
that's,
say.
and that stems from when I played. My mom, like she was my first coach, and she always talked to me about like seeing what you're gonna do first.
Mm-hmm.
Like visualize it, and now it's a thing, like it's trending.
Yeah.
And I shared this story last night on our community call. My mom, I would be pitching in a college game and my mom would be right behind home plate. And she would literally say, see it a little bit. And
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
an adult playing college softball. And that was the one voice I could hear.
Yeah.
But it was just good for me as a young athlete to learn that, because looking back, now I understand why I went through that, why I was exposed to that. Because now I'm in this place where
Yeah.
I'm taking on kiddos like Makenzie, where physically on paper, they're monsters. They're complete beasts, right? And when you see her, you think, oh, she's going to do this, this, this. And you start vomiting all your expectations on her. And these are like coaches just, and then when they actually see her perform, it's like, holy cow, like she actually understands the structure of things. She
Mm-hmm.
gets the why of things. Why are we moving pitches here?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we changing speed here versus just being a machine?
Yeah.
I'm just pitching.
Well, and I
And
told
just
her, I love how in every single game, if she's not pitching or she's not playing, she is in the dugout, but she is right up against the fence. She's watching the pitches. She's watching the batters. She's watching all of these things and she knows, oh, this person's probably going to do this. Or, you know, hey, the pitcher should be pitching this to that person because I can see how their stance is, their batting stance. I mean, to me, the knowledge that she has about her sport is amazing. And I think if more people would take the time to actually talk to her and understand how much knowledge she really has, I mean, there's a lot of different things that could happen in games.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, no, like here, Ken's, you're calling pitches. Like,
know?
you'd probably do a phenomenal job at it.
Yeah.
Like, just wait. When you're playing college ball, and if I'm still coaching travel ball, I'll pull you in. I'll let you call some games. You'll have fun.
It just shows how much she's retaining and how much knowledge is up in that little noggin up there.
Yeah. And it shows again how much of this game is mental.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
great. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. Chris, let's go ahead. I don't know if you're able, are you able to do video?
Yeah, I'm at work, but I was able to go to a huddle room. So hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I love
All right.
technology. This is
Yeah.
awesome. So, well, Chris, go
Yeah.
ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Chris. I'm Mackenzie's dad. I think I agree with a lot of what Leanne said. She took a lot of what I was going to mention on the call. So I think she had a lot of points that I also feel kind of believe in. Like you guys are saying, I think this game it's not robotic. You got to be intentional, and it's more about the mindset and the mental capacity of what you have in that circle to be successful. And I think she's come a long ways from that standpoint, just not being robotic and going up there and being intentional and knowing that there's a purpose behind every pitch. I think she's still kind of evolving and learning that aspect of the game, but it's so important, especially at this level, because I think for the first time, she experienced high level hitting against premier teams and players that are going to be going to ACC, SEC schools, Power Five schools.
Mhm.
And, it was tough. I think it was a tough transition for her. I think she struggled at times, but it was good competition. I think it's something that she needed to see and to kind of benchmark kind of where she's at as an athlete right now. But yeah, I think there's still the sky's the limit in terms of what she can achieve. It's just a question of, her believing in herself and putting the work in. But I think PGF, I think this whole summer was a big positive learning experience for her. I think there's, some tough moments and some really good moments in between, and playing at a really high elite level with a really high elite team and a coach. And she got noticed by a lot of college coaches that she probably wouldn't have if she didn't join that team. So I think, it there's a lot of positives, a lot of good things that came from the summer. And I think she realizes what she needs to work on going forward to know that she's got to, continue to evolve and get better as a player to achieve her goals and her dreams. And that's to play collegiate softball, whether it's D1, D2, or D3. So, and I think with your coaching mindset and what you bring to the table with Makenzie is important, because I think, again, it's just not about one size fits all. Because I think a lot of pitching coaches just don't take the time because they have so many athletes, and that gets missed. Plus the mental side of it, just being able to be there for her, during those tough moments that she's going through, and to be able to, to reach out to you and mention, hey, I had a really bad moment, and here's what happened, and have that sounding board, someone voice of reason as to, hey, it's okay. You're kind of going through this moment. It's normal. What do you think you could do better the next time you face that situation? So I think she's evolved, and she continues to evolve as I still have to remind myself too that she's only 16. So still relatively very young of age. So it'd be fun to see where she's at a year from now, even when she's a senior in high school. I think she's going to continue to go like this straight up, as long as she continues to have that mindset that, hey, you put hard work in, good things happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What would you say when, you reached out to me and we had the initial consultation? What would you say you felt like was the problem? Like, what were you guys seeking? And how do you feel like the last 6 months? I know you mentioned the mental capacity, but like, let's talk about the physical side of it. Cause I'll be honest with you, like I said, if people aren't ready to pump the brakes and allow their kid to sit in it for a little bit, I'm not their pitching coach. So let's talk about that. Like, what did you see her improve in? And going into this, what was the problem we were seeking to solve?
Yeah, I think, definitely mechanics was a big part of it. Just, getting in the same type of, being consistent and being intentional, but yet understanding the mechanics, what was going wrong and what was going right. And there's so many things involved with pitching, because one little small thing can completely turn your whole repertoire, your whole pitching upside down if something wrong goes wrong, if something doesn't go right. So it's the small little things that do add up over time, and it's just trying to reboot and just trying to look back at where she was at, and having to look at the small little things that she needed to change in order to get to where she's at now. And it's a journey. It's not it doesn't happen fast. It's step by step, and sometimes you take one step forward, one step back to get to go 2 steps forward. So I think we kind of witnessed that, and we still do. I mean, she's still learning, as a pitcher, because there's so much involved with just not only the mental side, but just the mechanical side of it. And for one thing, something could be weird about the circle itself, whether the mound is elevated and her footwork's different. How do you modify? How do you get around that? How do you pitch around that? How do you figure out a way to adapt? And I think just learning how to adapt as a pitcher based on what you're given in terms of the condition of the circle and the plate, the rubber mound. We saw that a little bit over the summer. She kind of, she did have some challenges where her feet were kind of getting messed up because of the elevation of the plastic versus where the plastic hit the ground. There was kind of a somewhat of an elevation, so sometimes she'd trip and her footwork would be a little off. So just trying to, as a pitcher, knowing, hey, these are the the circumstances that I have to deal with, and how do I overcome what all the other pitchers have to also be conditioned with, and how do I, as a pitcher, figure out a way to be successful and work with the conditions that I'm given, whether it's wind or or a bad calling, really bad calls. There's a lot to it, but
She figured it out.
yeah, exactly.
That's good. Well, awesome. So for you, what would you tell somebody if they asked you, like, who's Makenzie working with? And like, what have you seen her experience? You've kind of elaborated on that already. So let's say you're talking to another dad and they're like, man, Makenzie mentally has grown lights out. Physically, she's locking in. Like, what would you say about me, Coach Kally V, and the KVS Pitching Mentorship Program?
Yeah, I consider you more than just a pitching instructor. It's you're kind of part of the family, and you've been able to relate to my daughter and really get to know her as a person, not just as a pitcher. And I think that says a lot, and you have to, in order to kind of evolve and allow your student to evolve. You got to understand them as an individual, what makes them tick. Not every kid's the same in terms of how they how they look at things and how they are motivated and so forth. So just trying to get inside the mindset of your student and just really learning how they thrive in certain situations, and understanding that just it's not one size fits all. It's more than that.
Yeah, definitely, which is why I can only work with so many kiddos.
Yeah.
Would you say the investment for you guys, I know Makenzie, it's been an investment time wise, mentally, like you've had to sit down and think about these things when you're going to train. But for you guys as parental units who are paying for my services, would you say it's been worth it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Leanne's like, yes.
I didn't know if he was going to answer, or if we were both supposed to answer, but yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, because people are going to say, you paid what for what? And once they hear you guys say things like, well, Makenzie considers her a second mom, or Chris says she's like part of the family, then that starts the wheels moving in a different direction. Like, wait, you mean there's somebody out there that's actually going to stand in the gap with my kid, for my kid, other than me all the time? Like, what? So I love that. Well, thank you guys for your time. If you guys want to follow me on social media, you're watching this, just go to Kally V Softball on all socials. And if you want to train with me, there's always an application at kallyvsoftball.com. Thank you guys for being on the call. I appreciate your time.